We continue discussing relationship to San Jiao of the source points. Because of the nature of circulation in these areas, the source points may be likened to a great market. In these concentrations of heightened activity, there is a brisk trade in information from the body as a whole. In the distal appendages of the arms and legs, far from the internal organs, nutritive circulation reaches its apogee, just like the branches at the top of a tree or trading posts at the far corners of an empire. Like bazaars where many cultures meet, the source points bustle with activity. The abundant supply of qi and blood here requires not only adequate capillary supply, but just as importantly, the ability to reabsorb fluids back into the circulatory system in an area with lower blood pressure. In other words, just as blood comes far from the heart to the ankles and wrists to facilitate movement, it must also be quickly carried away and replaced to prevent swelling that might compromise the range of motion. Again, when circulation is compromised, it is at the wrists and particularly the ankles where the fluids build up. Thus, the arms and legs experience a rapid turnover of blood from other parts of the body. One might also say that the areas around the source points receive constant communication from a wide variety of distant organs. Therefore, despite or because of their distance from the internal organs, the source points have a unique clinical value that is associated with the diversity of information that they receive from elsewhere in the body. The concept of the triple burner, which is a hollow yang organ, was linked to the spaces between the muscles and surrounding the connective tissues. While these spaces exist in all muscles and in the lining around the organs of the abdomen, the substances within those linings will vary in different areas of the body. In fact, it is most varied in areas furthest from the trunk. This seems counterintuitive at first. How can areas so far from the primary metabolism of the internal organs be filled with a diversity of qi and blood? One would expect that the areas around the organs themselves might have more of the various types of qi in the body. But in fact, while the organs of the trunk may have more qi and or blood, the nature of that qi and blood is quite specific to that organ. For example, while the lung is filled with qi, it is a particular type of qi classically termed lung qi, which is a component of ancestral qi. Similarly, the liver is filled with blood, but of a type called liver blood in Chinese medicine. By contrast, at the source points, there is a fairly even mix of qi and blood from every corner of the body. Combine this with the high nutritional requirements of the joint spaces, and one can begin to appreciate how movement and diversity of all qi in the body combines at the source points around the ankles and wrists. So here you could see a very good illustration of the distribution of circulation at the wrist. So at the source point, like the lung 9, the increasing flow of channel qi at the highly active joint on the wrist creates the lively interplay, which brings source qi from the fluids of the triple burner into the qi dynamic of the channel. So from lung 11, this is where the channel qi comes out. It moves to lung 10. This is where the channel qi begins to flow. And at lung 9, the channel qi will now begin to pour with force, thus drawing ample source qi. It is important to note how the mixing of the various types of qi is vital to normal physiology. Ultimately, this involves an aspect of the role of the channels as a communication system, one of the three general functions of the channels described. Communication occurs through the medium of fluids. Consider the following example from the clinic. If there is a heart qi deficiency, This information enters the spaces of the triple burner in the chest as a change in the environment of the other organs. This environmental shift travels through the fluids of the body to points of highly active transfer at the source points. There, information regarding the heart might enter other channels very quickly. As has been shown in clinical experience, stimulating a point like heart 7, the heart source point, has a noticeable effect, which in Chinese medicine corresponds to a benefit to heart qi. Stimulating the heart source point sends a precise signal to the channel system as a whole, which initiates a chain reaction that benefits heart qi. Thank you very much for your attention.